What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in. My name is Chase. This is That Sounds Terrible. Today's episode, we are going to take a look at the Fuel Boost, and it's by Fuel Music Audio. This pedal was actually sent to me by my buddy Truck Driver Sean over at the Truck Driver Sean YouTube channel. So make sure you go check him out as well. He's a huge supporter of the channel, and I like to support his as well. We've been sending gear back and forth for a couple of years now. So anyways, let's kind of dive into the pedal and what it's all about. So the pedal itself it's a boost pedal, but it's not a boost pedal in the sense of like a Tube Screamer or an SD1. You know, it's not quite in that sense. There's no clipping going on. So this pedal is actually just a MOSFET pedal. Now the MOSFET is this one offers almost 30 dB of clean boost. So it's not actually coloring the tone as much as it is. It's also not adding gain as much as it is. It's lifting the signal. So it's increasing the signal volume. So whatever you've got going on here on the guitar, before it hits that pedal, that's what it's amplifying. All right. So if you have, say, for example, some very low output pickups, this is essentially like a volume boost. It's going to make it louder. It doesn't necessarily color the tone or anything of that nature. So we're going to dive into that. And it's kind of, I've got my camera set up. I'm going to be flipping it over. On the inside of the pedal, we have a gain trim pot. All right. Now this is going to adjust how much of that clean boost gain or volume boost that it's going to, increase. So we've got it dialed all the way down. We're going to start it off with, no volume. We'll adjust it. We'll make some tweaks as we go and we play along, and we'll see kind of how it does. Let's talk about the gear for today's episode. We're going to be using my 2022 Paul Reed Smith. This is my Amethyst Satin Burst. It's a beautiful royal purple color, amethyst purple with the gold hardware, of course. It does have the PRS 5815 LT pickups that came out during Christmas a couple years ago. These have a very nice clarity to them. They're very low output, and that's what the LT stands for. It's low turns. But anyway, so we're going to use this guitar. We're going to go into the Fuel Boost that you see on the screen, and we're going to run it into my Friedman Runt 50. Got the gain dialed kind of back to a crunchy-ish sound because when you roll your volume knob down, it really cleans up really nicely on the amp. It allows a little bit more dynamics using your volume swells, or you can use your toggle on your neck pickups. So let's go ahead and get right into it, shall we? All right, so let's talk about the pedal a little bit. Here's what I think is going on. Again, it is a MOSFET style pedal, so it's very transparent and clean. You're gonna have to deal with, you know, just the cable kind of sticking out there. So I don't exactly remember where I have it currently set. Sean had it all the way up on the internal trim pot. So I am gonna go ahead and do that. All right, so this is all the way up on the internal trim pot. We're gonna put this at about 9 o'clock, and we'll kind of go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and see how this sounds maxed out on the internal trim pot as well as the outside knob. All right, so as you can see, with the internal trim pot in the maximum position and you dial that all the way up, what it's doing is it's increasing all the frequencies that the guitar is putting out. In my opinion, this is too much low end. It really does kind of fatten up that signal. It doesn't tighten it up because it's not an overdrive or a boost pedal in that sense. Think of it as like a volume push. You're increasing the output of your guitar with no additional coloring or gain or clipping or anything of that nature. So let's go ahead and we'll turn it all the way down, and we'll just kind of start there. So I'm gonna go all the way counterclockwise. We're gonna dial this all the way back down, and this should give us kind of a better sense of what I mean by just, it's making the guitar louder. So whatever you're putting out, it's just louder. All right, let's go ahead and try that. All right, so as you can see, we're not getting a lot of coloring going on. It does bring up that volume just a little bit. It's not a huge difference, but you can also use this to a benefit as well. So for example, we've got some crunch going on with the Friedman. And what we can do is we can actually drop the volume of the Friedman. So this way it acts as a clean channel almost. So what's going to happen? It's the same concept as rolling your volume knob down. What it's doing is it's reducing that signal because that MOSFET isn't pushing the signal as hard. It's actually weakening it up to a certain point, so to speak. So check this out. All right, so you get the idea of what I mean by it kind of cleans up that signal. Like I said, it's like rolling your volume knob down. So that's why we're not getting a lot of coloring. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip this over and we're going to dial this up to about halfway, give or take. It should be right about there. All right, so that's all the way. Well, not all the way. It's halfway, I should say. All right, so that's halfway. Let's check it out now. right, so you guys get the idea about what I mean when it comes with it's increasing it. So what I have found is that on this particular pedal, the sweet spot seems to be 3/4 of the way up. And the reason I think that is the case, and I'm going to try and get it to capture it, I'm just going to hit an open note. We're going to let it ring out, and I'm going to tweak the trim pot inside, and you should be able to hear when that low end frequency starts to get boosted too much by that MOSFET. So let's check it out. All right, so now, hopefully it was able to pick it up. I won't know until the playback, but in the room, you can definitely distinctively hear a difference in that low end shift. So where it's currently set, we've got it maxed out. This way you're not increasing too much of the low end. So what we can also do to kind of adjust that is we'll tweak it just a hair. So this way we've got a little extra low end. So we've got a little extra low end, and what's going to happen is obviously with it maxed out, I want it to have that extra fullness to the sound, but then we're just going to back that knob off just a little bit, and that's going to keep us in that nice sweet spot. We're pushing the amp harder by the natural signal of the guitar. It's not really, think of it as an extra hot pickup. That's more or less what's happening here. Let's try it. There you have it. That is the Fuel Boost from Fuel Music Audio. This is a really good pedal. I like stuff like this only in the sense because it doesn't really color your tone. If you want to back it up a little bit, for example, like this is the neck volume. I've got the coil split. I do typically do that. I've got the volume. My volume is at about 2 or 3. And it just gives you that extra little flavor without really coloring the tone too much. Typically, things like Tube Screamers, they got that mid hump, so it's boosting a lot of your mid frequencies. This isn't going to do that, and that's really incredible. That's what I really enjoy about these types of pedals. I have another pedal that's very similar. It doesn't have quite as much gain on tap, and you don't have the option to adjust it, but that makes this a very flexible pedal. I'm really appreciative of Sean sending this out to me. Make sure you check out his channel. Hit the subscribe button down below if you haven't already, for me as well. Tell me in the comments below what you guys thought. Is this something that you could use in your rig? I think it definitely adds a versatility to a lot of people. I know this is a big thing for like a lot of country and blues guys. It adds that extra little flexibility to their tone, kind of Nashville thing or whatever you want to call it. So anyways, thanks for watching the video. Tell me in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.